So after being in the real world for a couple years now, obviously about 10 years, which is kind of crazy to think about, it doesn't feel like it. I noticed that society is kind of broken, and we're going to talk about that today. Now, there are some good things about society, but like, I don't know, like, I've noticed that there's a lot of rise of mental health crisis problems. There's a lot of rise of just people being hateful all the time, obviously. Like, there's always been some hateful people around, but I don't know, this time around, it feels like it's at its worst it's ever. Everyone is really mad about politics. Everyone's just upset about everything, you know? And I understand why, and I completely 100% get it. But it's like, man, y'all need to chill out. Like, what made me get started with this video idea was I was talking to a couple kids, right, like in my neighborhood. Like, there was a couple kids asking me a couple questions about a few things, and they were asking me about like life and like me being older, because they were my neighbors' kids, and I'm really good friends with my neighbors. And these kids did not really know how to read, which is scary because they were like 6 or 7 years old, and I was like showing them a sign of what this said, and they were like, "What's that?" It was legitimately a stop sign, and I was like, "You don't know what a stop sign is?" Like, yes, obviously they're not old enough to drive, but like a 6 and 7 year old should know what a stop sign is, bro. Like, that shit kind of got me really concerned a little bit. And there was really nothing wrong with these kids. Like, there was no disabilities or nothing. And the parent even admitted that there was no disabilities, but she admitted that they give their kids a lot of iPads and they watch a lot of Coco Melon and this and that. I'm just like, wow. I can't believe I'm at this point in my life, but even though I was raised on a lot of technology, but I think it's unhealthy for kids like this to be raised on technology like that without at least learning how to balance it out with reading, learning, writing at the same time. Like, I wasn't perfect as a kid. Like, I was raised on computers, but bro, like, I remember the basics of like reading, writing, and everything before I even got on the computer. Like, in my honest opinion, I feel like no one should be able to get on the computer unless they're like 10 years old with some restrictions. Because unfortunately, I was raised with the internet with some unrestrictions, but thankfully, I turned out okay. Thank God. But bro, like nowadays, like people are watching like crazy shit on the internet too. Like, I remember, watching gore one time at one point in my life when I was a kid, being exposed to that shit because my friends thought it was funny and cool. And looking back, I realized, yeah, bro, that's really bad for your mental health. And the worst thing I could have done for my YouTube channel, too, on my old channel, was I was making videos about talking about, like, gore-related content, you know? And at the time, describing it was all as interesting, but the part was, like, there was times where you had to look at the shit in order to describe it for a video idea. And I'm just like, nah, this ain't for me anymore. It got really boring really quick. And don't ever do anything for views, just letting you know. Like, do something that will get you an audience, but at the same time, do something that you're passionate about. Because if you're doing something that does only get you views, but there's no passion behind it, man, it's just going to feel like another job. So be careful what you do on YouTube. Plus, there were risks of your channel being taken down and being striked and shit, and I just realized, yeah, that's not good. So, you know, that's what kind of made me inspired us to kind of go back to what kind of led me to be on YouTube in the first place, was this gaming channel. The biggest problem I've noticed with society too is it affects everybody. This isn't just like the kids growing up, but there's so many adults nowadays that don't take any accountability for their actions. When they fuck up or mess up, they just don't seem to take accountability and they try to point fingers. Unfortunately, I grew up in an environment like this a little bit at times with my mom, but I will say is that thankfully I never had these habits. It's always important to take some type of accountability, you know, because if you don't, it will eat you alive, and it does not make you a good person in the long run too. Another thing too I've noticed that's also a big issue in society is there's this gender wars, right? Like, oh my god, it's ridiculous. Like, there's so many people blaming females for things, there's so many people blaming males for things. Personally, I think both parts of the party are the problem, but man, it's like, man, I can't have a conversation with somebody sometimes at my job without someone making some weird fucking remarks about women. If I'm talking about me having a girlfriend, because they'll be like, "You're lucky as fuck, man. These girls out here are fucking bad," which is true. It can be bad, but also there's some men that are also just as bad too, and I think we all need to fucking do better. That's just me though, but it's just like, damn, bro. Like, everyone likes to point fingers too, and that's a big one for just every little thing, not just like just accountability, but like for fucking other people's shortcomings too, and just fuck. Now, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I feel like being level-headed nowadays gets really hated on for some odd reason, and I'm kind of sick of it, honestly, because there's times where I could have, like, you know, both sides of the table, whatever, like, have both viewpoints of certain things, but so many people are black and white about it. Like, they'll get mad at you for having, like, conflicting on two different sides at the same time. And it's nothing even controversial. It could be anything small, too. Like, I knew someone that didn't even like some type of food, right? I said, I don't like this type of food, but I also like this type of food, but with something else. And they thought I was weird or like bad for it, which is weird. Like, it wasn't my friend or nothing, but it was just like an acquaintance I was talking to. I'm just like, why are people thinking like this, man? Like, it's just so sad to see. I think, honestly, everybody, as a society, I think we all need to do better. You know, we all need to fucking, not say come together entirely in terms of, like, everything in the world, but, like, just, you know, at least try to be at least kind to one another at times, man. Just an act of kindness goes a long way, because nowadays, man, it's not very common. Like, it would be so refreshing to see, because there's one time I legit saw a dude not that long ago. It wasn't like in the rougher part of Kansas City where I used to be from, at Westport. I was out there with my girlfriend, you know, just hanging out, just with my family at the time, doing some family stuff, just catching up, and because they rented out an Airbnb. I saw this dude that looked like he could commit so many crimes, right? The stereotype, but what was cool was that he brought someone's wallet back because someone fucking dropped it. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever, because the smallest act of kindness like that is awesome. And the coolest part was really stand up dude and everything, and he was not a threat at all, because you know what, looks are sometimes deceiving sometimes, and yes, sometimes some people will make their quick judgments really quickly, and that's another thing I think we all need to work on. Always look for red flags if they're there, but if they're not there, dude, why even make a judgment before you even get to know them? And the biggest issue I've seen, and I kind of understand why, but everyone just assumes that every homeless guy is like a bum or a drug addict. And yes, I do know the red flags when it comes to homeless people. Usually they give it out immediately, but every once in a while you'll come across someone who genuinely was homeless, but he wasn't homeless because of drugs or nothing. Sometimes, man, some really bad luck happens to some people, bro. And yes, some people are fucking, you know, just mistreated in life when it comes to down to this level. And I gotta say, I was homeless before, living in my car. I couldn't imagine living on the street, bro, because I was living in my car for a couple weeks waiting for my next apartment, because I had the next apartment in line. But bro, those were some of the hardest like couple weeks I've ever dealt with, and I could not imagine anyone dealing with that shit. Like, bro, it was so fucking crazy. And some people really do treat you like crap. Like, I had someone call the cops on me one time for just sleeping in my car at the time, because fuck, it was not cool. But you gotta be careful, guys. You gotta be extremely careful when it comes to a situation like this, and try to avoid it at all costs. It only happened to me because my credit was bad. I did get the next apartment, but fuck, dude, the only reason why I didn't even get in right away is because some squatter took my original place and I had to wait. And I think that's really crappy that a squatter took my apartment and they delayed it by like a month. It was ridiculous. It was like 3 to 4 weeks. It was the most infuriating part of my life so far, I gotta say. And the last thing I do want to say about society is so many people are so into lust, it's not even funny. When it comes to anything super like sexual or nothing, like, it's okay to have those feelings, but bro, that people make it their number one thing, and I find that shit horrible, bro. Like, nah, like, it's okay to have those type of feelings when you're a teenager, but if you're a grown-ass adult and all you do want to do in life is just chase poo-tang your whole time, man, it's just a waste of time in my opinion. Like, I've had it many times and shit in my life, and it's like, yeah, it's great in the moment, but then once it's done, it's done. It's like, man, there's other things you could also do with your time, in my opinion. I just don't find it the number one goal, if that makes sense. Like, I find relationships meaningful for a long-term thing and not for just a quick nut. And I'm not judging those people who do that, but dude, it's just not for me, and I just find it crazy, that's all. It's just not my thing. And before I wrap up today's video, I want to say too, is that the rise of gambling in sports, or just gambling in general, is also pretty bad. Like, I know gambling has always been like a problem, but now when it comes to gambling in sports, and sports betting is now legal, I find that shit to be another huge like issue that's going going to be going on, because I don't know if you ever seen the movie Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. Like, it's not the most realistic approach about it, but it kind of gives you a good example of how dangerous sports betting could be. And the fact that it's now legalized is really scary. Like, I remember seeing a post about a Houston Texans fan get putting all his money in for a football game, and like it actually backfired because they lost by like 1 point or something like that, because he had the score right, but it was for the opposite team winning or something like that. He was really heartbroken, and that's why I don't fucking do that. It's really terrifying. Like, at that point, I'd rather just invest in the stock market and lose all my money that way than just fucking invest in like gambling like that. It's really terrifying. Anyways, everybody, thank you guys so much for listening. What are your guys' viewpoints about society? Do you guys think society is alright, or do you guys prefer it to be different in many different ways? Feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Personally, overall, as a short answer, I do think society is right now alright, but it could be better, you know? It could definitely be better. And I think it could get better, but just not this decade. I think this decade is kind of ass, let's be honest. The only good thing right now I could say about society is, like, it kind of feels nice to go outside and enjoy the fresh air right now, and it really is really cool to see that we are getting like 2019 type vibes back a little bit, just way more expensive, but it's still not perfect, and there's a long way to go. Also, everybody, thank you guys so much for the love and support on the last video. They finally hit the algorithm a little bit, and I was very satisfied to see that, so thank you all for hearing me out so much. I'm starting to spread out these videos a little bit too, because I realized I was uploading a little too much every week, even though I love doing this. But thankfully with my job, I'm able to spread them out a bit easier. Anyways, y'all, I'll see y'all in the next video, and y'all take care.